Hello and welcome to Reddit Tell All. Today we are going to be looking at r/true off my chest. If you do like this video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and with that out the way, let's get on with the story. Guests stole our Thanksgiving turkey. I'm confused and frustrated and need to vent. We hosted Thanksgiving this year, husband and I, our 2 kids, husband's siblings, and nieces and nephews. And most importantly, husband's gravely ill mother. We're all at peace that this Thanksgiving and Christmas will probably be our last holidays together. It's been emotional and exhausting, but we really wanted to make a memorable day that everyone would enjoy. Our daughter Mary is visiting from college, and one day before she flew in, she says her boyfriend, Chris, is actually flying in our city to visit friends over the break. Mary asked if he could come over for Thanksgiving. We've never met Chris before, but to be honest, we're not wild about him. As soon as Mary started dating him, we started seeing some worrying changes in her. Our son, who is just a couple of years older, confided in us that Mary is getting into the party scene, largely because of Chris. We've tried gently bringing up our concerns with Mary, but she shuts it down and has started to pull away from us. So because we didn't want to alienate her, we said Chris could visit, but they'd need to stay in separate rooms. She said that won't matter because he's booked a hotel room and she'll be staying there with him the whole weekend. Okay. Cut to Thanksgiving and Mary and Chris arrive. He's not the greatest. He makes a couple rude/snide remarks throughout the visit and hits the alcohol way harder than is appropriate. My family was in a very earnest mood, if that makes sense. Lots of emotion, and he was just dismissive and flippant and cast a shadow on everything. At one point, everyone started telling stories about their favourite holiday at mother-in-law's house, when she would go all out for family parties. My husband and I stopped working in the kitchen to join the conversation. When we go back to the kitchen, after maybe half an hour, I went to check on the turkey in the oven, and it was gone. Completely missing. I asked my husband if he did something with the turkey, and he was just as confused as I was. We looked all over the kitchen and house and couldn't find it. We go out to the living room and ask everyone if they know what happened to the turkey, and no one knows what we're talking about. At this point, I realise Chris isn't around. I pull Mary to the side and ask where he is, because I don't want to jump to conclusions and make accusations. She said he had to leave to go meet up with friends. I asked her to text him and ask if he knows what happened to the turkey, and Mary kind of rolled her eyes. At this point, it's dawning on me that Chris probably stole the turkey and left out the back door while we were sharing stories with mother-in-law. But I'm just so confused why anyone would do something like that. I can't bring myself to actually make the accusation out loud. So we were left in the terrible position of having everything else ready, but no turkey. We had to break it to the family that we had no turkey, and everyone is confused and sad. Mary said she had to get going to an event with Chris, which deeply disappointed me. I told her as much, and she just said she'll see us again later this weekend. My in-laws went driving around to restaurants and grocery stores and pieced together enough stuff that we were able to have a meal much later than expected, but it felt like the whole day was ruined. Everyone was kind of murmuring about Chris leaving around the time the turkey disappeared, but no one wanted to actually accuse him out loud because it's such an explosion allegation, and there's not actually any proof. I'm just confused why anyone would do such a thing, and heartbroken because my mother-in-law didn't deserve this at all. At one point, she teared up but pulled it together. I'm also increasingly angry with my daughter, but I feel like I can't say anything because she'll just pull away more. Update. I was talking with my son today and he told me that last night Chris started taunting him over text about the missing turkey. So that settles it. Chris stole the turkey basically as a big F you to all of us. My son didn't say anything at the time because he didn't want to make people more upset than they already were. One of my husband's siblings is very mad at us for how things turned out and how mother-in-law was disrespected. Sibling is not talking with us right now. I've tried calling and texting Mary, but she is so far ignoring me. That's all I have to say about this. I found out on Thanksgiving my husband had a secret bank account. I'm not sure what to do. My husband, 36 male, and I, 32 female, have been married a year and a half. We dated for 8 years. I broke up with him 3 months before we were married because of financial issues. He's terrible with money and has unnecessary debt. Example, didn't make a single student loan payment for 2 years because he didn't know he had to. The deal was we needed to figure out our finances/debt before I wanted to get married. He kept putting it off until the wedding was 3 months away. I was frantic and told him we needed to get this figured out. He told me we could do it after the wedding. I was not okay with that. Long story short, we got in a fight. His friend said I was being unreasonable, so he wouldn't meet me in the middle. So I called off the wedding. We then broke up a few weeks later. We were broken up a year and he was devastated, begged me to go to counselling and said he'd do anything to make this right. I was furious he didn't make this a priority until now. We had a 2-year-old daughter. She was miserable going back and forth between houses. He was trying and I decided for the sake of our child to give it another chance. We dated another 2 years and decided to get married. He told me the only debt he currently had was his student loan, $44,000. Well, 2 months after the wedding, so about 1 year ago, I was excited to get debts paid off and start preparing financially for the future. I signed onto his Credit Karma account and saw he had almost $5,000 on a credit card that had been slowly accruing interest the past year. He was late on over half the payments. Not only that, but he owed the IRS $28,000 for his taxes he still had not paid. I confronted him about it and was furious he didn't tell me about it. He said he didn't know. I told him how could he not know? He said he thought it was way less. He didn't save any money from his job for taxes that entire year. I was devastated. I just graduated with my master's degree and my employer gave me $5,900 to pay for my final semester. I had also saved a $6,000 college fund for our daughter and another $5,000 to start a savings/pay off my school. We had not yet combined accounts and all this money was from overtime at my job. I sobbed and sobbed. We had no savings, no retirement, and just when I thought I was making progress, I have all this surprise debt. I never had credit card debt and worked 3 jobs in college to pay my loans. I was so close to paying my loan debt off. I used the combined $16,900 to pay off his credit card. Then the rest for his taxes. He is a contractor and the next few months picked up extra work and promised me he'd have enough to pay it all off, which he claimed happened this last January. Fast forward to this year, we've been making a ton of money. The only debt we have are our student loans. I've been picking up 15 to 20 extra trauma shifts a month at the hospital since July to pay off our loans when the payments pause stops in January. I've been able to save $40,000 in an account since then. I've felt amazing. I've worked so hard and see an end in sight. Yesterday, Thanksgiving, I was going through mail when I saw a bank statement for my husband from a bank I didn't recognise. I opened it and he had a checking account with $2,000 in it. There were 3 to 4 eating out purchases on it each week for October to November. When I confronted him, he said it was an old account and he forgot he even had it. I asked why there were weekly purchases on it if that was true. He kept lying and I finally snapped. I told him if he didn't tell me the truth, I was going to lose it. He confessed he still hadn't paid off his taxes and still owed $6,000 left. He had been using the account to make monthly payments to the IRS because he thought I'd be mad. He also had another new $2,800 balance on one of his credit cards. I lost it. I screamed and cried. We have been making a ton of money. He's been taking a trip every month with his co-workers, $1,000 to $2,000 trips. We've been eating out. We just bought him a truck. I've been frugal and killing myself with these extra shifts. There was absolutely no excuse why this was not paid off. I don't know what to do. I am so upset. He was supposed to go on a trip with his friends to go hunting this weekend. I told him to get the hotel refunded. He is not going anywhere for a while. I don't know what to do. I don't trust him with money. I am such an idiot. I absolutely freaked out. Now I feel guilty. I overreacted. I'm not sure how to think or feel. My boyfriend of 3 years lied to me about having to work on Thanksgiving. Turns out his sister didn't invite me because she doesn't like me. I have cried all day today. Thanksgiving is something my boyfriend always celebrated at his sister's. Something that he told me wasn't going to change because that's an important tradition for him. Traditions aren't that important to me, so I felt like that made sense. For the first 3 Thanksgivings, I wasn't invited and I wasn't really bothered either, because I thought that yes, our relationship was still new and they didn't need to like me or invite me to their homes. By they, I mean my boyfriend's family. But a lot has changed in the past year. My boyfriend and I moved in together. He told me he wanted to spend the rest of his life with me, and so do I. And I think he is proposing any time now, most probably on Christmas. So why am I still not invited? Even my boyfriend must have thought it rude, or he wouldn't lie to me and say he was working because I wasn't invited. With that said, shouldn't he be more assertive or at least try to make a stand by not going, staying this time with me? I have been chatting with my best friend all day and thank God for her being in my life. I'm going to celebrate with her family. Not sure if I will tell boyfriend that I know, not sure I want to upset the mood, but I'm going to have to talk to him someday soon because I want us to be on the same page the day he proposes. But maybe I shouldn't ruin his very important tradition for now. My deaf cousin constantly complains that our family doesn't speak American Sign Language. I do speak it, I just won't use it around her because she's a bitch. My cousin is a nightmare to be around. Growing up, she was a bully. She didn't change as an adult. The only difference is that now she justifies it as holding people accountable. She's the type of person when nothing is ever good enough. She always comes before everyone else, no matter what. She did nothing wrong, and even if she did, you deserved it. If you disagree, then you're harming her and need to apologize immediately. My entire family tries to avoid her as much as possible. However, we have to deal with her for Thanksgiving and Christmas. My grandparents hate her behaviour too, but they are peacekeepers to their core. For the last couple of years, I've been attempting to learn ASL. My girlfriend's brother is deaf, and I wanted to show my girlfriend that the people important to her are important to me too. I'm not fluent yet, but I can hold and understand a conversation. Which brings me to this year's Thanksgiving. As per usual, my entire family came to my grandparents' house for Thanksgiving. My cousin and her parents were the last to arrive, conveniently missing all the work to get the dinner ready. My cousin acted like her usual self once we sat down. Since she can't read lips well, she relies on her parents to tell her what's going on. I finally felt confident enough to translate, so I snuck glances at her throughout the night. The first thing I could translate was her calling my brother's new baby ugly. The next was how awful a cook my grandma and aunts are. She really topped herself when she said my 14-year-old cousin looked like a whore. As the dinner went on, she started getting visibly upset and kept complaining about being left out. By the time we got to pie, her anger escalated to a full-on meltdown. She yelled at us and called us lazy assholes for not knowing ASL. When her parents calmed her down, they gave us a gentle lecture about how much it would mean to her if we learned. Which is why I will never tell my cousin that I know. She may get away with everything, but I will make damn sure she gets nothing good from me. Besides, I would prefer that my relatives never found out about the awful things she has said about them. So I moved to America and I have celebrated a few Thanksgivings with my in-laws, and these stories just make me so glad that we don't have any kind of drama like this. Thanksgiving is my husband's favourite holiday, so we enjoy celebrating it, but who steals a turkey? That is just wild. Crazy. Imagine if that happened to you. You're just minding your own business, thinking everything's going along smoothly, go to get the turkey out and it's just disappeared. I'm not sure why they would be checking the whole entire house for it. It's not like it could just walk out the room by itself. If the turkey has moved, it's because someone has literally taken it. There's no other reason that the turkey would be missing. The only person that would take it is the person who's not going to be there to eat it. I don't know about you, but when you're meeting your girlfriend's parents for the first time or boyfriend's parents for the first time, you tend to be on your best behavior, not act like an ass. That is next level. Maybe we'll find his story on r/petty revenge. Maybe they were being an arse to him and he thought it'd be funny to get a revenge on them by taking the turkey. Although I can't imagine every single one of the family members were being an arse to him, but who knows? We only ever hear one side of the story. I wish we could hear both sides, because a lot of the stories I cover, I do think, are we really getting the full story? But it's fun to read, even if sometimes they sound too good to be true, you know, too out there. But I hope you liked today's Thanksgiving theme. If you did, give this video a like. And we are trying to get to the 1,000 subscribers. So if you want to support the channel, hit that subscribe button down below. And hopefully you'll come back and join me for the next one.